Today in this video, I'm going to be taking you through live short selling to show you exactly how to do this step by step using the Webull app. Now this past week, I did a video on how I made $139 with minutes of work short selling stocks. And when I did that video, I got a lot of comments saying, hey, can you actually show us how to do this step by step using Webull? And I thought, well, yes, that's what this video is all about. Now I'm going to show you how to do this both in the desktop version of Webull as well as the iPhone app version of Webull. That way, depending on what you like to use for your Webull brokerage experience, you can use either one. It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you both of them. Now, I got to start by saying that shorting stocks is very dangerous because it could potentially have a significant loss potential to you. So none of this today is financial advice, and you got to make sure you judge your own risk level, your tolerance level, and make sure that you seek financial help if you need any. This is all on you. I'm just sharing with you for your education purposes only. If you're not too sure what shorting stocks is and how I made that $139, I do recommend you check out the video right above in the info card before you check out this one. So pause this one, go hop over to that one, watch that one, and then come on back here. That way you can make sure that you have everything you need when it comes down to shorting stocks. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can make money in the stock market. You can buy and hold, you can sell and trade options, you can buy dividend stocks, you can day trade if you want to, and you can short stocks. Now, I've been using Webull for about 2 years now. I absolutely love it. In fact, I've done a lot of beginner videos and tutorials on Webull, and you can check out that entire playlist linked down in the description below. So let's get right to it. We're gonna dive into the desktop version first. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I am a very conservative investor. And it's kind of funny to say that when we're talking about shorting stocks, but when it comes down to a conservative investor that's shorting stocks, you know, I'm not going to be trying to pick up thousands or millions of dollars overnight. I'm gonna take it very slow. I'm gonna have a very specific strategy, and I'm going to exit out immediately if I need to, if I start losing money. So it's very important that you do that. If we look right here, here's our Webull desktop. And there's a couple things we can look at here. Of course, I'm going to use, for the purpose of today's video, we're gonna short TQQQ. The reason for it is, as of today, this particular day, we have some news in the market that I've been trending and watching. And I have a thesis that this could potentially drop down a little bit. Maybe not a lot, but a little bit, that I could maybe pick up maybe $10 or $20. But again, this is for seconds or minutes of work. I already did my research and I'm ready to execute my trade. So there's a couple things we should look at. First, you can see the candlesticks that I have set up on the Webull desktop. There we are. You got 20.51 is the going price right now at the top right hand side for TQQQ. And you can see three different options: buy, sell, or short. Now, if you just got started with the Webull brokerage app, these three options may not be available to you yet. Now, in order to start short selling on Webull and having that button available, you need a minimum of $2,000 of equity in your account to get started. If you don't have that at a minimum or more, then you would not be eligible for short selling. Now, what we need to do for this particular example is we want to click on the short, which is the orange button in the desktop. You'll see the same thing in the app. It's also orange. Now, I do always recommend to choose a limit order. Don't choose a market order. Choose a limit order, because if the price is going up and down drastically, you don't want to all of a sudden get caught on a downtrend or an uptrend that could cost you a lot of money. So what I do is I set a limit price. And for that limit price, we can see right now we're at $20.53. So I'm going to set that limit price to, let's say, $20.50. I'm going to let it kind of go up and down, but the goal would be Webull will not execute this trade until we hit $20.50. Once it does, it will then purchase a total of 10. In fact, you can see right here the estimated amount for 10 shares is $205. I'm going to bump that up to 100 shares. My goal is to short 100 shares, and this would be for a total of $2,050. Now, I have that cash available. I am not trading on margin. I am trading with the cash I have in my account. So anyway, I got my $2,000, going to short 100. All I have to do is just hit this button. This is going to pop up. It's a confirmation screen to make sure you know what you're doing. Here it is. So we got 100 shares, TQQQ, order type 2050 in the day. That means it's not going to be extended hours. We're only going to trade this in the day. And then the amount I am going to short is $2,050. Now, because I'm shorting this amount, what's going to happen is I'm going to immediately get $2,050 into my account. It's going to look kind of exciting, like something good's happening, like I made money. But remember, that's not the case. You're borrowing those shares from the brokerage. And because I have that cash in my account, if it does go negative and I got to close my position and take a loss, I will still be okay because I have enough cash in my account in my account to cover the loss. Now, of course, I do stop limits. I don't let it just go down, 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 and all of a sudden I'm negative like $20,000 or something like that. You got to be very cautious with yourself, especially when shorting, not to go too crazy with it. So I'll explain all that as we go through here. So here's what we got. We're waiting for it to hit the 2050 mark. And once it does, it's going to execute the trade. It'll signify, there it goes. It just executed the trade. Here we are, 2050. You can see there's the P&L. We're making like $1 and then we're losing $1. There's $3. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this kind of settle. There's a couple things you can do at this point. And one thing I would recommend is you look at the options of buying back the shares. Now remember, you shorted, which means you're negative 100 shares. In order to close this position out and make money, hopefully make money, is to buy back the shares. You bought at $20.56. Your hope is that it's less than that when you buy back the shares. That way you can give your 100 shares back to Webull and pocket the difference. So in this case, let's say you bought 100 shares at $20.50. It drops to $19.50. You would actually make $100 because at that point you could give back the 100 shares and the difference between that is $100 that you could earn based on shorting the stock. But if it goes higher than 2050, you got to make a hard decision. That's where I recommend always having a stop loss. There's only certain periods of threshold that I want to lose money, and I don't want to lose an unlimited amount of money because let's say all of a sudden TQQQ just breaks out and it goes from 2050 to like 3050, 5050, 150. Unlikely, but it could. If it does go and like moons today as we're shorting, we're screwed. That's actually what happened. If you heard the stuff about AMC back in January of 2021, they had all these hedge funds that had thousands and millions of dollars tied up in AMC shorts. And because everybody was buying in, pushing up the price, they got nervous and they had to basically sell at a loss. When they do that, it continues to push that price higher. So be very cautious and set yourself on a stop limit. Could be, you know, maybe I don't want to lose more than $100, or maybe I don't want to lose more than $200. So what I would do is I would put a stop loss at, in this case, because I have 100 shares, $22.50. If it hits $22.50 or more, sell that thing immediately. I'll lose $200 and I'll say, dang it, I didn't do this one right. Let me analyze why this happened. Because my thesis was it was supposed to drop. Why did it go up today? Something's wrong. And then evaluate that and get back into the game. But always have a strategy. Don't trade as if you're in a casino. This isn't about making money quickly. It's about being a smart investor and really looking at what is actually happening in the market, coming up with a thesis, and then performing on that thesis or on that strategy. And by the way, if you don't have Webull yet, they do offer you free stocks when you sign up and get started. Now, this is a commission-free brokerage. It's absolutely easy to use, and it's easy for beginners all the way up to advanced traders. So you can start off on the beginner end and scale yourself up as you learn and grow with your investing experience. So it's linked down in the description below. Check it out and get started today. Now, while we wait for our money to go up and down and see what actually ends up happening here, let's take a look at the app. Shorting stocks in the Webull app is very similar. All we have to do is go over to the search bar and we're going to do the same thing. TQQQ. And we're going to click on here. Now, what you would want to do is you want to click at the very bottom where it says trade. We click on that, and that's going to take us over here to the options. Very similar to the desktop. It's almost kind of identical, just doesn't have as much of a wider screen because obviously it's a phone. But all you want to do is hop over here to where it says short. Click on short. And again, my tip, always use limit order because if it's going crazy, you don't want the market to screw you up. So let's say we do a limit and we're going to do the same thing, 2050, we'll do 100 shares, and then you can decide, are you going to do the regular hours of the stock market or extended hours also? I warn you, extended hours could be a little bit dicey. There's not a lot of volume in extended hours, so know what you're doing. If you're just starting off and you're super new, I would do regular hours. But again, you got to judge your own risk. This is all on you. So you can see the same thing as we saw over on the desktop. We have an estimated amount of $2,050, and that's kind of what we have. And it's 100 shares at 2050. And then what you could do is hit the short button. That same thing is going to happen where it pops up and gives you a confirmation screen. And then you hit confirm, and then you would have your short. If your limit price is hit, of course. If it all of a sudden is going volatile, it may not actually fill the order. That's another important thing. If you got like $20.50, and let's say all of a sudden it's like going fluctuating, it went up to like $21, now it's back down to $19.50, and it's going crazy, it may not immediately fill your order until you have a good solid limit price of $20.50 where it can then execute that order. In our case today, we were successful with doing that, but again, it's the same thing, either way. Either way on the desktop or on the app, very, very similar. Now, as we wait for our hopeful profitable buyback, we want to talk a little bit about the fees. And it's very, very important to know that if you hold that short position overnight after the market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern every day, you're going to be charged an interest rate. Now, I'm going to post this at the bottom in the description below so you can hop over to this particular link. But this is the financial fee schedule for Webull. Now, remember, they have $0 commissions, but there are some fees for being in a margin position. So depending on how much you're trading, it could be, as of the recording of this video, anywhere from 3.99% if you're trading $3 million, down up to 6.99% if you're trading up to 25,000. In my case, yeah, if I was trading on margin for this, it'd be 6.99%. But as long as you close your position in the same day and you don't hold it overnight, you will not be charged an interest rate. You're just using leverage from your margin account on Webull. So just keep that in mind. The other tricky thing with short selling is it comes with an additional rate. So even though this is a margin rate just for normal stock trading, if you look down here, there's a short selling fee. You need to borrow shares of stock of a company before you sell them. The cost associated with the short sell is the fee for borrowing the stocks of said company. The stock loan rate changes on a daily basis based on market condition, just as interest on margin trading. It is calculated on a daily basis and charged daily. So it's important that you don't hold it overnight. But here's the deal. I'll share with you one example. Hard to borrow stocks are going to cost a lot of money. So let me share an example over here on the Webull app. We're going to type in APE. That is the AMC Entertainment Preferred Holdings. Now, if we hit trade and we try to short sell, you're going to see an immediate little banner at the bottom. This security is not labeled as easy to borrow. It is a hard to borrow stock. Please be aware that the margin interest rate is 3.70% and may vary widely depending on the volatility and availability of the stock. So if I click learn more, it'll give you a little bit more of those details. So with the not easy to borrow stocks, you gotta be very careful. I've seen that as high as 8.4%. Actually, I might have seen a 9% one day. Be very careful about certain type of stocks that you're shorting. Make sure you're doing your research. That is the most important thing you could possibly do in order to not get put in some type of trap where you're spending so much money and then, God forbid, you lose money on the deal too. You're just gonna be like really, really sad. I don't wanna see that. So let's hop back over to the desktop. Let's see how this thing is going. We can see right now we're in profit of about $23. You see that right there? Not too bad, actually. Now, you have a decision to make. Do you wanna continue to hold it? Is your thesis gonna hold up that it'll continue to drop and maybe make you $100 if it drops to $19.50? Or are you happy with making about $19, $20, $25. So in this case, because I'm recording this video, I actually am going to execute this particular trade so you can see what actually happens here. So what we want to do is we want to buy back the shares. Don't sell them, don't short more. You need to buy them back, and we're going to then pocket the difference. The difference being, right now we see it right around $18 or $17, but that's what would be put into our pocket. So let's go ahead and get this rolling by setting a limit price so that way we can take advantage of as much profit as possible. So in this case, I'm going to set a limit price of $20.26. Grab a little bit of profit, and right there it is. There's our confirmation screen. Hit buy, and then you can see right up here there's buy 100 at the limit price of $20.26. That'll be exciting. Let's see if it gets to that. Right now we're at $20.34. If it drops down to that $20.26, we'll execute the trade and have some profit to talk about. And I have some great news. We executed on that limit order. So here we are. Let's look at the screens right here in the app. The very first one is, here's our original short, 100 shares at $20.50, as we looked at a little bit earlier. And then here is our buy just a little bit later. So obviously we've been trading on this, let's see, from 9:42 to 10.42, almost exactly an hour we held this particular stock. So in an hour's time, made a profit of a total of $23.94 in this particular deal. So, you know, it's not bad. It's not a whole lot of money. We're not sitting here saying we just made $1,000, but you know, $23, I'll take it. But that's exactly how you short a stock in Webull. So what other questions do you have on the Webull brokerage app? What do you want to see next on this channel? What about options? Comment down below and let me know what you want to see next. Until next time, check out this video next and we'll see you on the next video.